Hello, my name is Boke.
And I'm in for me.
Welcome back to We Are Binge-watching. So today we are going to be talking about Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Lady Chatterley's Lover is a 2022 romantic drama, and it's another adaptation from D.H. Lawrence's book of the same name.
So this book was actually very controversial when it came out first. One of the most controversial books in the 20th century. People actually were pissed off by this book.
It was even banned at the time.
And it was banned. And now Netflix decided to adapt this book. This is not the first adaptation actually. There's been an adaptation like in France, 2006, Lady Chatterley.
Many adaptations actually. The first one in 1955 was actually banned because they said it was promoting
Obscenity, because there are a lot of sexual scenes and extramarital affairs. It's just funny because at that time these things were like, oh my god, the society was really different from where we are now. Look at us watching Lady Chatterley's Lover. Meanwhile, people in the past were actually against it. What's the uproar about? The movie is basically about a high class lady. This role is played by Emma Corrin. You might know her from The Crown, and and she's playing this lady who has this independent thoughts. People back then, by back then I mean the era where this movie is set. This is during the early 20th century. The war was on then, and this lady, she got married to this man, Sir Clifford Chatterley. Yeah. At first, it was actually good.
They were happy and she was in love with him.
Yeah, they were in love with each other. They were good. I wouldn't really say they were in love. It was just like all this aristocratic.
I think they were actually in love.
It was not love. They were. It was not. They respected each other. You know that kind of aristocratic marriage whereby you like this person, but it's not really like love, like you're head over heels in love with him. But compared to other marriages, this is actually better. Because this man is good looking, she's good looking, and like she said, he's nice from the beginning. She told her sister that he's okay.
But I really think he really she really liked him, like she was in love with him.
I don't think she was. She was not in love with him. Remember they spoke about a German boy at the beginning.
Yes, and I started that she loves too easily. She gives her heart too easily.
But she was not in love with Clifford Chatterley. She tolerated him. She saw that okay, this man even has at least some of his values aligns with mine. That's what happened here. Don't say that Connie was in love with Clifford. I don't think so. So, anyway, they were actually okay, but this man had to return back to war.
Yeah, First World War.
And he came back with an injury.
He was paralyzed from his waist down. Just imagine how stressed Connie is going to be.
And this man, he did not want any other person taking care of him, just his wife. Which is something that's really relatable amongst men, and they'll be like, oh, just my wife has to take care of me and all that kind of thing. A lot of women just assume the role of caregivers automatically because you are the wife, so people just assume that you can play that role. But Connie was drowning.
So the workload was too much and she was bored. Just imagine they had to move from London to his family estate, and yes, and it was really, really. She was away from her family, from her friends and everything. Now she just has to take care of Clifford, and it was really boring.
But until she met Mr. Melos, the gamekeeper, he had his own fair share of war, and he was kind of snappy. But she found him fascinating, and they started this illicit love affair. This is the only time we see this lady happy in this movie.
This movie is rated R because it contains nudity.
A lot.
Of nudity, sex, and strong languages. Yeah, so before you go in, just have this in mind that you should not watch it with your kids or anyone younger.
The name should even give it away already.
Yes. But this movie, what do I even feel about this movie? How do I feel about it? I felt the story could have done more. Like there was other things they could have talked about, like the minors. There were different stories that could have built on, but this movie actually just focused on the sexual part of everything.
Yeah, I share the same sentiments because this is a book, and this is a book that I have been waiting to read this book since I was in university. I wasn't to read a book because one of our history classes they taught us that this book was mentioned about how this book was banned then, and I really want to read the book. But I kept procrastinating, and adulting is happening and all of that, so I have not read this book. Even when I found Netflix was going to adapt it, I wanted to read it. However, I did not read it. And while I was watching this movie, I just felt like I'm missing out on a lot. Number one thing that comes to my head when I just think of, okay, if anybody asks me, what do you think about this movie? I would say I did not believe the story. I just felt like there was a lot of missing pieces in the story. So I don't just there's I don't know if it makes sense, but there are some stories that you just have to believe it. Like you are in it and you believe it, you understand what this person is going through. You will not say that Emma is not a good actress, but I just did not believe the story. I felt like this book is definitely going to be better. Definitely. I've never read it, but I know the book. I just feel like there were things missing.
I felt the story should have been more than. I just felt like they were just pushing all the sexual parts. It's just that's just what was just in our face. When there are other parts of how she's struggling in her marriage, on how the line she said that this is not part of. She did not say this in her marriage vows. I said, oh, nice, cool. I I don't know, but I felt like it should have been more. Even Clifford and his interest. I will not say Clifford was really a bad guy. Like he was even a bad person.
But he was kind of mean, the way he treats his staff and all of that. But
He said he loved her the way he knew how he could love.
yes, that's the thing with communication. Assuming he spoke to her about it, she would have told him that she's drowning.
Yes.
But he just assumed that, oh, you are the wife, which many people do. You are the wife play caregiver. I'm not a caregiver. I am not trained for that. People are actually trained for that. So why we just assume that, yes, nobody's saying that you will not take care of your husband if he had an accident. But the heavy load. Thank God for Mrs. Bolton, lady. Is it Miss Bolton?
Mrs. Bolton.
Yes, okay.
She also played Lady Chatterley in one of the adaptations.
Oh, really? Oh, that's nice. This Netflix adaptation, I don't know. The movie was just there for me. I was expecting
It was very slow.
it was pretty slow, and I just knew that there was something missing in that movie, and I would do well to read the book. I just know that there's more to this. The entire makeup, it was just not believable. I don't know how to explain it.
Oliver Melos, the gamekeeper. I'm not really feeling people might say, oh, they felt the chemistry. I never see any chemistry between two of them.
Chemistry. Like I said, I did not believe the story. A story has to be believable to me. Like you can feel it. You are in this character. You are. Sometimes you might not enter the character, so you might just be a someone that who's just standing by and watching the entire story unfold. That you can still play that role too as somebody who's watching a movie or reading a book. But the story has to be believable. But this one, I did not just believe the story. I'm not saying the storyline is not true, but the way it was delivered was not just. It was not gelling well together.
I felt like the story had more potentials than what it had.
They could explore.
Yes, there are more.
Yeah, because it was really slow. They dragged on for like an hour plus, just talking about the sexual chemistry was already there between her and the gamekeeper. Her husband being overbearing to her already, and she was getting bored of him. Then the other hour was she and the man. The explicit scenes were actually well acted. I'll give that to them. They added it was really nice way they acted, like they were so natural in that role. Like there were the elements in
That's chemistry they had.
yes, that was like, oh my god, these people, they are really into this. It's nice. But every other thing in the movie, it was just like we are waiting for the sex scenes. You understand? Like, oh, we are just acting this movie, but hold on, because there are a lot of interesting scenes that we acted well that you should wait for. So that's just how the movie was portrayed, in my opinion. I'll rate it a 2 because I did not just believe the story. I don't know. I'll rate it a 2.
I'll give it 3 for the effort put into the cinematography. But okay, no. Yes, I'll just give it a 2. And for her playing Lady Chatterley very well.
Lady Chatterley, I liked her. She was a strong female lead, but at the same time, I needed more. Yeah, so that's it for our review of Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, so let us know if you have seen this movie or if you're willing to see it. This is just our own review. We'd love to know your opinion.
If you have read the book, if you have seen other adaptations.
Yes, please, especially if you have read the book, let me know what's in that book. Should I go ahead and read it or not? If it's just the same blur that I saw in the movie. So please let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Please don't forget to, okay, anything already said that.
Bye.